starts in 5 minutes.
Apollo 13 flight controllers, listen up. Give me a go, no go for launch. Booster. Go. Retro. Go. Vital. We go fly. Guidance. Guidance go. Procedures. Go. Inco. Go. FAO.
We are go.
Capcom.
We're go fly.
Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's entertainment.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the big show. You're listening to the HVACR Survival Podcast, coming to you live and direct here from downtown Nowhere Land. We've got a little something for everyone out there, so sit back, relax, and make sure you grab your popcorn and get ready for the show. It's time to get energized. And shit come, it ain't doing it on its own, so we got to hit the live 1. I bet we got to hit live 3. Yeah, there we go. There's live 3. Yeah, it's kind of there. Let's see whether it shows up there. I don't know if that one's going to show up right. What's up, people? Thanks for coming in.
What's up, guys?
We are on time. We're missing the words and stuff there. Let's try this other. Yep, there it is. Yeah, it's coming in. Kraus came in there. His is showing up. Yep, we are definitely on time for once. Probably because I was just hip happening and ready to go.
What's happening, everybody?
Joss Pearson,
same old.
Cool with Kraus. We got Eddie out there in Alaska. And who else we got? We got my buddy Jeremy Walker. Finally, he can comment. Jeremy and me went to school together and stuff. So yeah, he's been watching quite a few different streams here lately. So yeah. So yeah.
Jason Johnson says he's not looking forward to going back to work tomorrow. He had a nice 5 days off. Man, 5 days off.
Alaska's saying I'm worried about wearing some gloves. I don't think I wore any gloves in that last video. I don't think so. So what do you guys think about the 4CFM pump there? It's got a little more pump power to it. It's got some extra features on it. It came with a 9 amp hour battery. Cool. It seems to be doing really good. I had a little problem the other day. It was beeping at me, and I'm like, what in the world's going on? And I thought I had charged it. Maybe it didn't charge right, because I got a hold of the Navic people, and they're like, that's telling you that it's going dead. I'm like, that ain't good. So I charged it again, and it worked fine for me after that. It's really cool because it's quiet. So it's like all of a sudden your microns start to drop, and it's like, well, that's kind of weird. It's dropping, and it doesn't even seem like it's pumping. So it's kind of cool.
Did you have to touch it just to make sure it was working?
No, you can kind of hear it, but if it's noisy in there, it's because it starts off real like doom, 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 doom. I mean, it's really, really, really slow. Like the field piece will sit there and go and come right up. But that one, it takes a good probably 15 seconds to 20 seconds possibly for it to come up to full speed. And yeah, but I've been playing with it. Now, I did find out, and I think I did it on a recent video. I don't remember. I haven't showed it yet. Oh, I did on Instagram. When you got a capillary tube, and I even texted Bergman, I'm like, dude, you know how he pushes all the time about going with one hose is just as fast as using two. You only save like less than 30 seconds or a minute when you're using a big, but that only happens when you got an orifice or a TXV. He said, if you got a capillary tube like I was dealing with, no, because I'm taking forever. My pump's running for 30 minutes, and I'm like measuring on the other side.
Through that restriction.
Yeah, well, because it won't pull through the valves of the compressor. I mean, you can push through it, but you can't pull through it. And I wasn't for sure, honestly, but I ended up hooking the other hose up. I'm like, screw this, it's taking forever. And so I threw the other one, because I have my little bucket. It's got everything there, the probes tools or the valve core tools and all that. And it, put it on there, and boom, I had it down 400 microns, and none of them hold. I mean, they all rise up. You got, like on that one, I'm surprised no one said anything. I didn't change the capillary tube dryer, but that system wasn't having any issues. And yeah, every time you open it, but heck, I put an oversized 163 in it, And I cut that out, and I even acknowledge it in the video, and I cut it out, and I'm like, we'll just see if anybody even notices. But that was one of them ones where I didn't even want to repair it. I mean, it was 21 years old, but they couldn't get another machine for, potentially till end of the summer. And honestly, the milkshake machine gets used probably 90% of the time versus 10% of the time for the ice cream machine. That's what screws my ice cream machine up, because it doesn't get used very much. And then the mix breaks down because it's constantly stirring and never getting pulled out.
I was disappointed you didn't test out the milkshake at the end. I was like, here's the big payoff at the end. He's going to take a big sip, and it's over. The video's over. You just dumped it right back.
I dumped it back in there, and at least I remember to use a non-labeled cup, because that place has their name everywhere on that thing. And it's so hard to record in that building without getting their name in it. And I've got a lot of videos that I've done at those places, because they usually have so many issues with something, and it's so hard to cut the people's, because they got it on their uniforms, they got it on their shirts, they got it on their bags, they got it on the ketchup. I mean, they got it on everything, and it's like, I don't want to show their name. Yeah. Is
this a place that we would be familiar with?
No,
or
it's local only.
Never have heard of it.
Nope, you never heard of it. It's just a local place. They got a few locations, and we do a lot of work with them. So I got to protect their privacy, because that could cost me a lot, and get me in a lot of trouble if anybody's seen something that wasn't, beneficial to them. So
I have a question for you about the video. You said that sometimes it would overflow, and then the liquid would ride down those wires and get all over the controls. What is overflowing exactly? Is that the mix?
So on the way that machine is, there's a barrel, and it's about 4 inches diameter, stainless steel, and on the other side of it has copper wrapped around it. And it's like a flooded evaporator. So what they do is there's an auger that goes down through the center, and at the rear there's a rear main seal, which is an O-ring, and then it has like a cup with a stainless steel ring there with a rubber device that holds it kind of at the very end. So it goes right through the center of it. Well, what happens is the employees, nobody wants to maintain the machine right. They don't lubricate it as much as they're supposed to. They don't put the machine back together right. They'll forget to put the springs on the flights, which is the little blades that wipe the walls of it. And it will sneak through the back of the machine, because a lot of times it's pressurized. Now on this one it's gravity, so there's not a bunch there. And it will come out the back of the machine because they didn't lubricate it. They're trying to cut corners and go fast, and just run sanitizer through it, and then run new mix in it, and then move on, and not take it apart. And you got to take it apart and re-lubricate that rear. I mean, you're supposed to do like 3 to 4 days, take it apart, do a fast cleaning. And then on the 7th day, you're supposed to do a full-blown, cleaning. And sometimes they don't do the full cleaning like they're supposed to. And there's a tray, like somebody brought up, don't they have an overflow tray? Yeah, they do. They literally let it get that flipping full, that that tray's about an inch deep, 1.25 inches deep, and it fills up, and it's supposed to come to the front of the machine and come out the front, and you're like, oh crap, and then you pull that out and empty it, and you take the machine apart, and because it ain't rocket science. And
they don't do that.
They don't give a crap.
That thing's making ice cream, nobody messes with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shake machine. The only thing neat about the shake machine is it doesn't care. That mix can break down, be sloppy, nasty. It needs to be slurpy, that way you can suck it through a straw. And, they don't do nothing special with it. That's literally just ice cream mix that's not froze down. It's like 23 and a half degrees instead of, 18-ish. And, that's when you clean the ice cream machine, you'll dump the used ice cream from the barrel into the shake machine, because the shake machine don't care. That way you're not wasting product. And so the shake machine is what made the ice cream machine receive very little use, because, they're not a full-blown ice cream place. They're a hamburger joint that offers sundaes and cones and all this other stuff.
Making me hungry now.
Yeah, I mean, they make a good tenderloin, stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, this is one of them things that, that you just don't. Well, and it's just kind of a cruddy design, because, I mean, I've been there multiple times, and when I got there, the start relay was blown, the start capacitor was blown, and I was getting ready to put it together, and then I it was just locked rotor is what I had. So it wasn't a short. It wasn't, shorted to ground or anything like that, but it's like that's why I went ahead and just changed just the main dryer, and I went massively over because I didn't have an 083, and that's only a 12,000 BTU system at that. So, I mean, a 163 I think is good to 5 ton or something like that, but
That's all I carry is 163.
I got
I started buying
083s.
some
I
of the
got
smaller
half
ones
inch,
because
5/8, all of it.
everything's the 8 cubic inch, but I mean typically
I
on your
don't
rooftops.
I don't carry a lot of dryers on, and I'm very afraid to use dryers I've had on my van for a while because I've put one in before and then it was restricted. It was a brand new dryer, but it's been on my truck for a while. I don't know if it's bouncing around caused.
Go make
A
yeah,
spore one?
I mean you got to
So
kind of be careful.
I typically like to get a brand new one. If I do carry a couple, but I've gotten away from stocking filter dryers on my truck for any amount of time. I think once they're for me personally, if I can get a new one, I will because I did a walk in and I had just a horrible time charging it and getting it all right, and it ended up the brand new filter dryer that had been on my truck that I used was plugged. Um,
That's kind of an odd one.
That's odd.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know if
mean,
it was bouncing around or broke apart or what, but it
well, I mean,
was
yeah,
definitely
I'd say
the issue.
I mean, I keep mine fairly secured, but I mean, I can go through.
As
I
long as you
got to
don't
keep
lose the end on it and you ain't dropping it.
163 or 08. Anything 3/8 has got to stay on my truck because it don't stay on there long.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I could have just had a bad one out the box, I guess, but
I mean, that would be odd too. I mean, it's a damn filter dryer.
it was
I'd say
odd.
more likely it was
It
bouncing
was
around.
at the end of the day, after we figured it all out, it was the filter dryer. We put a new one in, re-vacuumed everything down, charged it, and boom, everything was working great. But Rick, your video it reminded me of one I did where I had a smoke detector. It was on a Lennox unit. It was deep inside the unit, but it had water inside. You could tell it had been getting water in it, and it was damaged. And I was like, "How in the hell did water get in here?" And it turned out that we had some airflow issues, filters, and the return was plugged up. And I kind of put together that it was probably sucking rainwater in through the return. It hit those wires and just rode right down the wires and right into the smoke detector. So that was a good video. I enjoyed it. I don't ever work on shake machines or ice cream machines, so I definitely enjoy when you put those out. Those are some of my favorites to watch.
I only show like refrigeration part of it because I mean everybody does the refrigeration side of it. I don't do a lot far as the tuning of it because that's the part where it kind of gets into the expertise. I mean, there ain't a lot to it, but when you don't ever worked on one, I'm not inviting more people into the ice cream field than what's already there. So, I mean, we pretty much got the corner on it. So it's like, it's the same, but it's not the same. It's kind of like all the other stuff.
I'm kind of interested in some of that because I've heard you talk when you're doing it before, the consistency and this and that. But that
took me a while. It took me a while to learn it because, I mean, it literally, I had a hell of a time in the beginning. It was like, well, it's, everything you're thinking, superheat, subcooling, they don't talk about that at the factory. It's there, but they don't talk about it. They're the old fashioned, what's the pressure? What's the pressure on that? And it's like, well, do you set the superheat on? We don't set no superheat, and it's like, whatever. Joe Shear was wanting to know if that was that fake stuff that DQ uses. No, it's 6% butter fat. It's real milk. It's a locally made stuff. It's nothing bad about it. It's fine. So,
and what I find most interesting about that is not only you have to take care of the refrigeration end of that equipment, but you're kind of responsible for what's coming out the nozzle and into the cup.
Well, that's why I get mad when they don't take good care of it because, my feeling is that's why I get mad about the ice cream machines. I mean, or the ice machines, it's not. Yeah, you look at you wait till you see this video of the ice machine I did early. I did it like on Friday or Thursday, and it's in this factory, and it's in a factory where they're cutting metal and stuff. All that crap's floating in the air, and it's getting into the machine, and then like the guys are using it. I'm like, where do I have to wash this thing at? Where do you think? The only place they have water. Everybody has to go to the bathroom. So I wash the machine out in the bathroom sink. And it's a regular residential bathroom sink. So I'm scrub-a-dubbing this turkey in the freaking sink. And I'm thinking, man, violation city, I'm sure, but whatever. It got clean and it works at the end. And of course, I didn't record that I forget my bag there and it's 45 minutes away from where I went. And I'm like, holy crap, I get to the next job after driving 45 minutes. and that's country driving 45 minutes. So it's like, 35 miles away, 40 miles away. And I'm like,
Alaska said your Rick.
I saw it too. I saw
your
it.
milkshake
might
brought
be.
a lot of boys in the yard, but it's hard to tell if it's better than his.
Oh, geez, oh, criminy. I kind of had to play that a little bit there because Laura was like, yeah, she always likes to talk about that stupid song. So I use that as the ploy to kind of get some views and stuff. But it's hard to come up with names.
The thumbnail. I got a chuckle out of the thumbnail, so I had to watch it immediately.
I got to come up with something. It's like, I had a choice. I could do the ice machine again, which I just did one, or I could do this milkshake thing. And I'm like, I did this one last week, I think it was, and it's like, well, I saved it for this week, and I wanted to do them back to back, but then it's like, you may not have much going on, which is what I'm running into. There's a lot of boring, repetitive stuff, or you're changing control boards, stupid stuff.
Last week was just one of those PMs and a little bit of interesting stuff here and there, but I had nothing to record. I got an old train, oldest one I've seen in a while. It's like 89 coming up this week, and there's a lot going on.
Train, Voyager. Is it a Voyager?
I don't think. I guess they considered that the Voyager still.
Yeah, I think they're still making that thing.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
It's just an old one. I'm not gonna. I don't want to give you too much. But
Alaska's getting on me for pressure.
Another company said no, just disabled it, shut the disconnect off, and said, yeah, you got to have a new one. Period. The customer called us and said, we would like a second opinion. Is there anything we can do? Can we halfway make it work?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I had an instance where I went out on a newer store that had all 2020 Lennox rooftops, and I was doing a PM, nothing major, and I thought this is going to be easy. I ended up finding bearings that were grinding loud. The blower belts were too tight. The set screws were missing. Bearings had come out of the sleeves altogether. I had to shut a few units off because they were so bad. And I guess I don't normally take pictures of bearings when I write them up because there's not a lot to see when you got a bad bearing. It's more of a sound, right? Well, the company was like, these are brand new units. How do we have all these problems? So they had their guy come in from, I don't even know from where, but they had their own guy come in and double check all my work. He turned everything on that I had turned off, said, nothing wrong here. So then it kind of turned into a little thing. My boss, Tim, had to end up going out there personally. And I was like, I didn't get nervous, but I was like, anytime the boss has to go out there now, I was like, oh, geez, this ain't good. But he had to go up on the roof with the manager, go through every write-up that I had on every unit, and document it with a picture or a video or whatnot. And I'm happy to say every write-up I had was justified and it was correct. And
you should have made a video of it, and then you could have just said, "Here, go look at my YouTube video."
I should have, and what, that's happened before. Tim will be like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'll say, "You know what? I made a video about that one." I said, "Let me send you the link." But that was a good feeling because I never write up anything. A lot of guys will write up this or that just to generate work. That's not the way I do it normally. And I was happy to hear that everything that I written up was justified. I mean, the one freaking bearing, I don't know if they didn't tighten the set screw and the whole thing slid on the shaft, but I had to shut it off because basically the shaft, I don't know if the proper terminology here, but the shaft slides into the bracket that's mounted to the blower. What's that? The bracket. So basically the shaft was riding on the bracket. And if I hadn't shut it off, the shaft would have it would have kept rotating. It would have eaten right through the bracket, and then the whole thing would have been a complete mess. And I was like, how do they hear this? But he turned it back on. It's already
a complete mess at that point, but that's I've seen a lot. Did you say that was a Carrier?
Lennox.
Or Bryant? Lennox? Okay. I'm completely off then. But I've seen this from the Bryant and the Carrier units.
Yeah.
The pulleys are loose.
You have to tighten. You have to
The
check them.
pulleys just don't get tightened down. And
Yep.
even if it's secured to the motor, the motor shaft,
Mhm.
the set screw that's adjustable is loose. And as they run, they'll
It,
wind themselves up and
I
they'll speed themselves up
absolutely. I found
and
so
tear the
many
belts up.
where the adjustable pulley is wound all the way in,
Mhm.
and I'll see a set screw over here,
Yep.
and then, or if the set screw doesn't even come out all the way, it'll screw all those threads up. I've taken pipe wrenches and had to, I could never get them apart with my
I
hands, so
found the
I'd
same
have to
thing
get
the other day.
pipe wrenches
Yep.
on there, and then what kind of damage did it actually do to the motor? Now that it's wound all the way in, it's been running that way for 6 months,
Well, I mean, even the one I found, the amp draw was honestly okay
Yeah.
with it all the way in, but I could see that it had moved because the set screw was actually on the threads, not on the flat portion of the pulley. So I could tell something was different. I'm like, the amp draw was all right, but I was like, I'm gonna back this out a turn and just see where we're at, and tightened everything up, and everything was fine.
Yep. We have a policy now. Any rooftops we replace new, every set screw gets looked at because you can't trust
Yeah.
them to come from the factory. And you know what? We didn't install this equipment. In fact, I did have a video at this particular site. I was there for a service call. Every unit on the roof had a three-phase belt-driven blower motor on it, except one for their office. And that one that had it wasn't a three-phase motor, was not properly phased. So the compressor was running backwards. So I can only assume that they tested the phasing by running the blower to make sure the blower was going the correct way. And they missed this one because they probably set all these units in heat. The blower was going the right direction, so they walked away. And next thing you know, it's summertime, and this compressor's been running backwards. Luckily, I mean, I just cooled it off with a hose, and
I've found that too. The
but it was
same
the
same
only
deal.
unit that didn't have a three phase. It stepped it down, so
Well, I
they
mean,
were
unfortunately, and it's the same. It's the same way everywhere. I don't know if it's across the country, but our installers install the hell out of some stuff.
Mhm.
It'll be perfect install, but when it comes to the wiring and the startup,
Yeah,
and they don't want to pay to. I mean,
and
they
I
don't.
can
They don't want to pay those prices to have people start it up that know what they're doing. And unfortunately, the disconnect gets thrown, and they don't get checked.
I agree with you 100% on that because a lot of times we'll recommend repairs that need to be made, and they don't want to pay for it. And it's
Yeah.
ultimately up to the customer at the end of the day,
Yeah.
to have it properly done. But for
Well, it should
us,
be properly done from the beginning, but it's difficult even with,
well,
Now,
I
are
mean,
you Ryan? Are you guys working through a third party, or are you dealing straight with the company?
we have some straight to the company accounts, and then we generally work through a facilities company.
Because we've dealt with that before, like Valente or something like that, Lane Valente or something, and they would give you this not to exceed, then you called them with a price, and they mark it
Oh
up.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
oh
where
yeah.
things usually never got done. 'Cause you got
Everything
somebody
we
else.
do is quoted, which kind of hinders me on service calls because a lot of times they don't approve me to repair it on site. And I was like, you guys are messing up my YouTube video now. I'd like to just
Nice.
repair it now. You know, I don't like taking a video from 6 months ago and then patching it together with one I've
It's
made,
difficult.
to
it
put it
gets, I
together.
mean, with us, it's kind of, I mean, you got to know your customers. I mean, as you do, apparently, they don't want to fix it right there.
Yeah.
A lot of ours, if it's little stuff, they'll do it. Even if I mean, sometimes it's just like, it's got to run, fix it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't care what you got to do to make it work.
nothing we do is critical. We're doing retail
Yeah.
commercial. They don't care. These people that work in these retail stores, they're like, we don't even want to
If
hear
they're
it from you.
if,
They
if
don't
they're
care.
all, yeah, well, I mean, they're not the ones making the decisions a whole lot of times
Yeah.
with that, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because we do some of that stuff too, and
Yeah.
then you're basically writing it up, telling them, hey, this is what you
This
need.
is what you need. Yep. But yeah. I'm excited to see what the weather's going to be like this next week and what what else. I'm getting pumped. I made one
It's
video.
coming.
I had a little bit of a run in. I started editing it. I spent a couple hours editing, and then my
Ooh.
program crashed, and it all went to garbage. Then I whipped it all back up, but I'm back on the editing. I just need the content at this point.
Yeah, we
Which
got
hasn't been there
61
lately.
tomorrow, 66, and 68. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But of course, 80% showers one day, partly cloudy the next, 70% showers the next day, and windy and 56 on Thursday, and then 48 on
I can deal
Sunday.
with whatever.
I hate
It's
freaking
above
this.
40.
Yeah,
I mean, it ain't cold.
we took the tops off the Jeep today.
Did you?
Took your top off again, did you?
Yeah, I took off the cover thingy and then I posed it for a couple pictures off road. I kind of went behind some buildings. I was like,
Am I the only one that wants to see Rick and Laura cruising around in his Jeep?
I parked that thing right off. I drove it right off the road and parked it right up there on the hill. It's 2-wheel drive, just dug right up on it. I'm like, that's in like the outskirts of town. I'm like, you can see the little thingies are missing and stuff. She's in there, sitting in the front. You can kind of see her in the front a little bit. So yeah,
that's a nice looking vehicle.
I
That's
really am
brand
starting
new.
to like it. I'm really starting to like it. It can get addictive. You're like constantly looking for things you can do to it, and like I want to add some.
And you got to do that. You got to do that weird wave thing too, because that's a Jeep, right?
Yeah.
So you do that weird, you got to wave to everybody that's got the Jeep.
Yeah, basically,
Like a cult or
except for the regular little
Jeeps.
Jeeps.
Going on there.
I'm only going for like the Wranglers and the other Gladiators, because I mean, in reality, it's a Wrangler
My brother
with a
drove
bed.
a Jeep, and I saw him do that every time, and I'm like,
it's like that with the motorcycle, though.
He was a biker too.
When I ride the bike, it's pointing two to the ground. So like 2 wheels down. So I mean, I do that, and then a lot of times I just don't watch. I don't look to see if anybody's doing it back. That way you don't get mad about it.
I'm gonna start a new thing. I drive
Flip the
I drive
bird.
Ford. So every other Ford I pass, I'm just gonna. Give them
I
thumbs
do
up
that.
or something.
I do
See if
that
we can
with other
make
service
that a thing.
technicians. I'll see other vans rolling, and I'm like,
I used to.
hey, and
when
I
I
usually
first started.
just get one of these.
Yeah, the union guys would never wave back, so I just quit waving. I was like, whatever. I don't wave to nobody anymore. We used to kind of do the, or whatever. And now it's just ignore who they are, whatever.
Yeah,
For
wave to
me,
people.
usually I see vans from
Joe, that is good. Just empty every pocket. And just empty every pocket. I like that.
I usually see vans from other companies I've worked at. There's two companies in the area I'm at that I still know some people, and I'll get a.
We're not in the town much, so I mean our other company is, but I don't really see much, and half the time I don't even know who they are anymore. I've been out of town so much now that it's like I don't even recognize half the people. It's like whatever, don't matter. I'm becoming that old crotchety guy. Steve was pointing at something there.
I'm giving crane signals to this chat.
Crane signals.
Alaska told me that's how I should say hi to the other drivers.
There you go.
Just give them crane signals.
Give them the swirly spingle.
Then you know if they know what they're doing or not. Either they have an idea of what you're doing, or they're like, "What the hell is this wrong with this guy?"
I remember that. It'd just be so much simpler. They just use two-way radios, but yeah, I don't know. We got guys that.
We've done the two-way radio thing. I got a video that didn't get any views that we set a 100-ton IntelliPack, and they were using crane or using two-way radios because they had a wall that you couldn't see. We couldn't see the crane
extending way over it.
I mean, it got a little squirrely a couple times too. I about got smashed in between one of the ERVs.
Yeah, not good.
Go up.
Well, they got to the point they couldn't cable up anymore because of the pressure they were seeing, and it was just twisted just right, and it was stuck. So he boomed up, and the thing broke loose. But when he boomed up, it came back, it moved, so absolutely. It was coming towards everybody on that side of the unit. And I mean, it's just like get the hell out of the way.
We've done some crane lifts for some bigger compressors and some units that were a little hairy because I would be next to the unit. Now I've got to communicate with a guy that's over the edge of the roof, who's then signaling the crane guy, and you know how that goes. That old thing in school where what was it? Where everybody sat in a circle and one person started saying something, and by the time it got all the way around to the last word, it wasn't even what the first person was saying. But you know, I generally say, take it up. You know, you tell them what to do. Take it, go left. But I'm not the best at signaling a crane, and I don't normally get into that type of work. I don't do a whole lot of installs, but it's probably something you should be fluent in.
The crane signals are good to know. I mean, I use them a lot. When I mean, you're using the basic ones. You don't use anything crazy, but for the most part, usually I can stand on the side of a roof and signal the crane and get him to drop it wherever I want it.
Yeah.
Without even, even with one man, without somebody being over there.
Sure.
Depending on what it is.
Found on road dead, fix or repair daily. What's all the other Ford ones there? Because old Joey there is giving me some crap about my little Jeep. Chrysler, company high, recommend.
I drive a Ford. I get it all the time. I get abuse.
I had a Ranger back in the day when I was in SKU. But yeah, that's about the only Ford truck I ever had. I don't know.
I live in a Ford town, so
we got Ford Motor Company right here in my town, but still, I mean, I like GM products better. But there's a GM factory not but 45 minutes to whatever away, so we've got both. We're close enough to Detroit.
I got a father-in-law that's retired from Ford, so we get the A plane. You gotta buy a Ford.
Fixed over, rebuilt Dodge. After a ranch dog. That's pretty good. I ain't heard those two. Get some. Really? Yeah. We're full of humor tonight. So
I like the hot button topic was Ford or Chevy.
No kidding, man. We got a couple there. Fast on race day, first on race day. Those are the pro ones, I guess. I remember
I've had both, and they're both. I mean, they've been good trucks for me either way. Both of them.
Depends on whether you just want to arrive or do you want to arrive in style. You want the style.
If you take care of them, you're doing all right.
My buddy's a big Toyota Tundra fan. He loves his Tundra.
I mean, them things are expensive.
They all work the damn same. The problem is sometimes you can buy a lemon, just like with anything else. Sometimes you just buy a bad one that turns people off.
This guy gets on my nerves, though. He bought this Tundra, and all of a sudden now I'm getting bombarded with Ford memes. I'm like, all right, guy, I get it. It's funny. The first 12 were hilarious, but please, come on.
I've had enough.
Enough already. I get it.
I mean, how much do we really drive the dang thing anyway? I mean,
I only put 1,200 miles on my personal truck last year.
Well, last year was a bad year to compare it to, though, because nobody hardly did any driving last year. There was nowhere to go.
I don't put miles on
I drove to New Jersey.
My Chevy work van.
I got a Nissan.
I want to bring this up. In New Jersey, it's the only state. I brought this up on my live stream last night, but New Jersey is the only state in the country where you're not allowed to pump your own gas.
What?
And we go to
no. Yeah, we've heard twice. Where have you been?
I know.
Oh my God,
Rick doesn't know.
I thought we got. I'm pretty sure I got gas in New Jersey. I'm almost positive I got.
I went to New Jersey for the first time. We went to Wildwood with our family, which we've been going for the last 5 years. And I hopped out as soon as we got I was like, I need gas. Hopped out. Some guy yelled at me, "Hey, you can't pump your own gas." I was like, "What? I can't pump my own gas." He had a vest on. I was like, "I guess." And he's like, "Get back in your vehicle." I thought I was getting arrested or something. I was like, all right, what the hell is going on here? He pumped my gas.
The union thing's got control of all that stuff, and they have a guy that pumps your gas, right?
They got a guy that pumps your gas, and I talked to Jeff J. Dem and Flintstone. They both are in New Jersey. They love it. They're like, pump my gas.
How much are you paying for that?
I don't know, but they passed a law where it was the volatility of the dangerous nature of gasoline. They can't trust the normal everyday working man to pump his own gas. And so now I go and I was like, at first I was like, do I have to tip this guy or something? I feel like I'm getting a service over here, but yeah, New Jersey.
I mean, usually, I mean, there's some place. There's a place in. Well, there was a place in town that had that, but you paid an extra 5 to 10 cents a gallon for it.
No, this is the entire state.
Yeah, I don't know how that works with them. I mean, I guess it's got to be more expensive because you got to pay the guys, but
I'm not going to pay him. So,
and these are the things you didn't see on The Sopranos.
If you're there and you want the gas, you're gonna pay them.
I mean, I'll pay whatever the normal price is.
I guess
I'm not going to give him
it's
anything
everything.
extra.
It's everything but kerosene. Kerosene, you got to pump your own in New Jersey.
What about
Which makes
diesel?
no sense.
I'm not sure.
They good on diesel?
I'll get Mike Flynn back on the phone or Jeff J. Dem because I don't know, but kerosene,
Everybody
you got to
just
pump your own.
stay away from New Jersey. There's nothing good up there anyways, right?
No, we have fun in New Jersey. We
Except for Jeff
vacation.
Denton and Flynn.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I don't know. So what's up, guys?
Not a whole lot today. Ate like a pig all weekend. Had good food today. Had good food yesterday. So it was steaks and chicken and all kinds of stuff.
You grilling?
Steak tonight.
No,
Big old T-bone.
paying people to do it. Went out to eat for the anniversary thing on Thursday.
Oh yeah, happy anniversary with 10 years now.
Yep, 13
Nice.
together, 10 tied together. So yeah.
God bless Laura.
Yeah,
God
I
bless
know. Her mom's a little late on the payment for sticking with her, but yeah, it's I've been hanging out there waiting for the next payment. But yeah, we went to new place that just opened up. They got a new store that we ended up doing the work there. So it was nice, and it was a nice place. I liked it. And then what did we do? Yeah, we went to Roadhouse on another day, and then today we had the after church thing. They had our regular meal thing at our Bible study thing. So it's kind of everybody takes turns bringing different kinds of foods and desserts. So usually I just try not to eat much afterwards because I packed on an extra 3 or 4 pounds.
It's actually good that you reminded me. My anniversary's coming up here shortly, so this will be 7 years for me.
Joey,
Thanks for the reminder.
mine's
I'm
easy
horrible.
because it's April for whatever reason, and then like you think of a full week, 7 days, April 7th. So I don't know, for whatever reason, it's just easy. And it was cold the day we did that too. We did it out at a pond, some people's pond out in the middle of the country somewhere. They had a gazebo and stuff, and it was cold that day. We had the dogs there. They all were dressed up and stuff, and it was interesting.
I think I'm going to be posting a picture on my Facebook for our anniversary. I'm going to bring out one from our marriage. I got the big, fat, sweaty Elvis that married us coming out. It's going to be hilarious. So
we
stay
posed
tuned
with
for
the
that.
Glocks. We did some gun poses and stuff even.
Did you?
Yeah. Kind of a back-to-back thing like this, and yeah, it was the guy that did my photography. He was an HVAC guy that I worked with, and he's been a photographer for 20 some years, and I worked with him when I was DJing and stuff. So I'm like, dude, how about you just shoot it and just give me a copy, and you don't even have to develop it, you don't have to color correct it, nothing. Just shoot it, maybe $100, $150, whatever, and he just gave me the copies of it, and he was there for 45 minutes or an hour, and I'm like, photos don't mean a whole lot to me, so I still never printed any of them. They're still on a digital copy somewhere.
That's all we got too.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, we never even printed them, but and some of them it was real sunny, and we stood in front of the sun, so it really screwed up the camera a little bit, but yeah, whatever. So. Otherwise, not a whole lot going on. I don't even know what I'm doing on Monday. It's hard to say.
Jason Johnson says he went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Pretty cool place. We went there too, Jason. My son and I. Yep.
Look cool.
Yeah, that place is cool. We had a good time. I like we got to go on Johnny Cash's tour bus. They had it parked out front the time we were there. It was cool. My son, he was into like Michael Jackson for some reason, whatever. He was young, but they had all the Michael Jackson, the glove and the hats and stuff. But awesome. All the costumes from all the rock performers, you know. If you guys can make it out to Cleveland, it's definitely worth it. They also have a big warship, you know, museum there. We went on a submarine. We went on a ship. There's all that stuff down there in Cleveland. Pretty cool.
Alaska's trying to get you to tell your secrets there. If you could build a tool to make your life easier, what would you make? And it's like, yeah, tell me about that. That way I can make it and I can be rich.
I would make a universal mute button. That would be mine.
You mean something that would take somebody off like that?
Yeah, I just need one of those in real life. Do you guys ever see that movie with Adam Sandler? Where
remote
he had
control?
The remote control. That would be.
It's going fast forward. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was good.
Of course, it all worked out in the end. Everything was better.
Coolin' with Krause is his son loves Michael Jackson. My kids both, man. It was like I couldn't stop these kids from Googling or YouTubing search Michael Jackson, and then all of a sudden we're having a big Michael Jackson dance party in the living room. Like, oh man.
I remember having a similar jacket to it with all the zippers.
Yep.
He was a little crazy in his later years, but what are you gonna do?
A little.
Yeah, well, you know, when you got a couple bucks in your pocket and don't know what to buy.
Happens to the best of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, he had a great childhood too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that's part of
actually
the
won
issue.
a pretty decent jackpot on the Michael Jackson slot machine in Vegas early on when we first went there. So maybe that's what sparked it. I was all excited. I was like, yeah, Michael Jackson.
Let's have another kid. We just won $200,000.
Oh, I wish. We didn't win 200,000.
Yeah. You end up losing it really quick. I noticed that even with my brother. We was down there when we was in North Carolina. We stopped by one, and he started playing these $1 to $5 and $10 and $20 a hit, and he won like $450, and then just started, and it was gone before you knew it. It's like, oh yeah, nope.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is there anything out there in the you got anything out there in La La Land? You guys want the philosophy of life or anything?
We're chatting about random stuff.
Yep. I mean, we got a famine coming on.
We've gone off the rails.
Nobody's talking much about the bird flu going on. I guess we're losing a bunch of chickens, and we got wheat and everything else. We're gonna have like all kinds of food shortages and all kinds of other great things going on coming our way soon. So,
have you guys ever looked into that bulk food storage stuff? Ever?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Have you ever purchased any of that? I've been looking into it for the last few years. Might not be a bad idea because stuff is crazy these days.
My Patriot Supply has got the best bang for the buck. The thing you got to look at is your calories per day. A lot of them, like Maxwell House and stuff like that, are the calories are really low. So my Patriot Supply, you know, got a lot of different coupon codes and things like that, but they base theirs on a 2,000 calorie a day diet, where a lot of them are only going 500 to 800 calories. You can't survive on that. Even when I was doing my diet stuff, I was doing at least 1,200 to 1,400 calories, and that, you know, practically starved, you know, to get where I was at. So, yeah.
Because I'm all stocked up on ammo at this point.
No,
I'm
not me.
worried about that. Now I'm like, maybe I should start thinking about food.
Yeah. Barter and trading.
I'm seriously getting a little worried about just the way that I'm not going to get political on this, but sometimes I got to wonder what's going on in the world these days. You know, a gallon of milk is costing me just about $5.
I'm lucky I don't eat half that crap. I mean, I've been buying my diet candy bar things that I eat, and I mean, I spend $230, and that'll take care of me for most of the month, and that's my lunch and breakfast and all that. And I'll eat like 5 to 6 or so of those a day, and you know, I'm paying $11 a box. I mean, it's cheaper than eating out. I haven't ate out forever, and then like sometimes I'll be like, I'm kind of hungry, and man, holy crap, people are paying $9, $10, $11 for lunch. It's like, holy crap. But yeah, bullets and coffee. Coffee is going to be a big commodity. I thought about buying that. They got some coffee that's good for 25, 30 years. I don't drink coffee. That'd be a good thing to trade, because it's going to come down to barter and trading when it's all said and done. So,
I can find the caffeine. I got the ammo. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Sure,
figured
that's
out.
about
Alaska
I'll
asked me if
I'll go
I
find my food.
Alaska. I'm not a hunter. See, that's my big problem.
I
Maybe I
don't think
should
he's
have
talking
been.
about hunting.
You ain't got to be a hunter. Just go
You just
find
got
it.
to have the ways to get it, you know.
Sure.
At that point of what you were talking about, then it's
And that's what's bad about being that guy
highest on the
that's
food chain.
yeah. You go and you save all that stuff and you stock all that up, and then somebody comes to your door with a freaking mob, and then they just take it. So it's like, what do you do? So that's why you never talk about any of that stuff.
Be the top of the food chain.
Yep. They come looking. So everybody thinks they're going to go down to the hills and, you know, and you know, hang out down there. I mean, half the country ain't going to go to the hills. It ain't going to work out like that. But yeah,
Well, hopefully it's nothing we're ever going to have to experience, but it's definitely been weighing on my mind lately because this stuff is getting crazy. Really.
It's been crazy.
It's been crazy, but
I mean, it is what it is, man.
It's bound to happen. Let's just say that. It's been foretold.
yeah.
I've been prepared for a while.
Yeah. Well, I assumed it would have happened one term ago. We would have, you know, if the lady would have got in, we've been on track.
We dodged a bullet on that one.
For now, but we're catching up. We're catching up now. So yeah. I need to open up another channel where I do anything. I think I'm going to call it anything but HVAC, and freaking just put anything under the sun on it. The Jeep stuff, off-roading, guns, whatever. And just put all the crap that is like whatever. And
I would watch that.
Mikey B, I do not have the M12 cutter, and I've thought about it, but man, I don't do a lot of plumbing, and I know it'll only go down, I think, 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit smaller. I don't think it'll even do a 3/8, so I haven't gotten that.
I don't think it does 3/8.
Yeah, and that's probably one of my most populars between that and 1/4, because on that little dumb stuff I work on, it's a lot of 1/4. 3/8 it will do. Oh, well, maybe I should get one then.
There, boom.
Well, maybe I'll need to buy one then. That wouldn't be a bad toy to have. I've got about everything. I got the hand grinder, the big grinder, the little 12-volt grinder. I got a little everything. Chris says he subscribed.
He'd subscribe to that channel.
I would like that because I could get, down and dirty with a lot of stuff that I'd like to say that I just don't say. And like, if they don't like it, I wouldn't care. But so, here I got to be somewhat, careful because you lose everything you've worked for. But,
you mean you watch what you say?
Oh, I watch what I say. Believe me, you can see my personality difference here versus what I am in the video. I mean, this is a little more of my speed and style of who and how I am. I mean, I'm more boisterous.
Can you see not the difference between me and my videos?
No, you're pretty much commonly the same. I'm very opinionated, so I don't would have a hard time deciding which channel to demonetize. Yeah, they would just nail me all the way around. I mean, I'd be one of those ones until you become big enough. That's when they come after you.
You're already being looked at right now.
I don't
for everything
care.
We've talked about.
Where you going? We'll make this thing unlisted here in a couple hours. I had to last week, man. We had so much crap in the middle, and the ending's horrible. I don't know who made it to the end there. It's like that looks really bad. I'm like, I'm going to cut the end off. So it got edited off a little bit there at the end.
Well, yeah, I watched it again. You mean the end where you disappeared and me and Ryan were stuck being looking like idiots?
You guys are doing good. We started late, man. We started massively late. It's like
we did all right. No,
I thought Rick had just abandoned ship altogether. I was
there's one thing I'll sell out. I'll sell out for, man, and I'll sell out for love. So HVAC can suck it and can create vacuum when it comes to that. You flaunt that there, and it's like, it's kind of like Anyhow, we'll just leave that one out.
Did you guys see that? Brett Wetzel he put a little live on YouTube or on Facebook is where I saw it, but he got a big old delivery for field piece. He's gonna be coming along with a bunch of giveaways.
Yeah, he's gonna be a bunch of giveaways.
Yeah, so if you guys aren't following Brett Wetzel on the Advanced Refrigeration podcast, go check that out. I mean, you don't have to be advanced or in refrigeration or do podcasts, but you're going to learn something.
Any little
from these
education
guys.
helps.
And I mean, you're going to pick up something.
I've been listening to podcasts. Absolutely. I've been, like I said, I kind of had a boring week and been doing kind of PMs and dumb stuff. And I turn that podcast on and put it in my ear. And I don't typically do that because usually if I'm on service or I'm out doing my thing, I'm one track mind. I'm go find it, fix it, get it done, and get out. And I need to hear what's happening. I can't be listening to stuff.
No,
but you don't even have to do it at work. I mean, everybody's got time.
By the time I get home, though, I mean, like I've been wanting to work on the Jeep stuff and kind of get things and research and find out what kind of things I want to add to it, and then. It's just like I don't have no time. I mean, that's the whole reason why the videos are getting done on Saturdays and Sundays, because it's like I don't want to do none of that crap. It's like I just feel like I come home and boom, before you know it, it's time to go to bed. And it's like, got to go back again. And you just don't have no time to do nothing. It's just what sucks.
Well, over and over again.
If anybody out there has a little bit of time in the evening and they don't want to listen to it at work, go check out Brett Wetzel and the Advanced Refrigeration podcast. We got some big giveaways coming this way. Good dude, too.
Lasker realized why he listens to the HVAC OT show. And Lasker, that's got to be because it's random BS, kind of like we do.
That's pretty much what we're doing. I mean, if somebody would give us a topic, we could go at it.
We might talk about something every once in a while, and then we just get off on rants. And
I mean, it's the same 38 people. They must enjoy it. So, I mean, it's just us hanging out, all of us hanging out. I mean,
it's the same guys.
I mean, some of the best guys in the industry are right here, right now. I mean, you know, 38 of the best guys in the country are watching right now. So
you got that right.
Yep, you know what I'm saying. So it's like
38 of the best guys.
We don't need to talk about that HVAC stuff because they know what they're doing already. They're just here to relax a little bit. That way they're ready to go, dedicated to it tomorrow and through the week.
I think a little bit of it is just the BS and the funny. Did y'all see Chris doing his disappearing act on OT
when they all left the screen when he came back?
He was wearing a full body suit of like a blue screen or a green screen, and he had a green screen, so
was
it's like
this
you
this
couldn't
Friday?
see it. Yes,
because I missed it.
Was his body disappearing?
You gotta
go back and watch it.
At least the beginning, because he's invisible. All you can see is his head.
Oh my god, I gotta go.
We went to eat that night, so I did not get to see it. I'll have to play it back then.
Hilarious. I'm gonna go watch that.
It was a good time.
I was gonna watch. I was editing a video. My son had his friend over for a sleepover. I had something go on. I couldn't watch anything. Basically the whole night was ruined. But yeah, because I was looking forward to the HVAC overtime show this week because I check those guys out every Friday night.
So what'd you do? Take them out camping or something, or? I'm
not getting into it. It was a dilemma going on.
Oh, it wasn't good then. It wasn't fun.
I had to miss everything I had planned the entire night. But
that sucks. We were hearing about that earlier with one of the other guys. He's like, yeah, I had my grandson's birthday party and stuff. It was only 2 hours, but I had to do this, had to do that, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, well, you'll miss it.
Field Piece versus Testo. Which
always
do you
one of them.
prefer?
No doubt.
Field Piece has got some good stuff, and so does Testo.
Sure
Testo's got a few things. It just depends on what you want to spend. I like the Field Piece probes best, but I like the Testo manifold because it's smaller, but I only like it because it's smaller. That's the only reason why I like it smaller. It's not as good. I mean, Testo's got issues, and all their probe stuff seems like it's cheap, so I mean, it don't impress me much, but I mean, the Field Piece stuff does really good, and their support behind it's really good. So it just really depends on which product.
Do you use the MeasureQuick app for the probes?
Yep.
Rick?
Yep.
Yeah, I do too.
Yep. I mean, I don't use half the stuff, but I just like the way it's easy.
You got to use if you're using anything but MeasureQuick, you're not doing it right because there's nothing.
I mean, I'm not using all the fancy stuff that's got on because you got to get all those measurements for it to work properly. I don't need that. I just need to be able to read my pressures and temperatures.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to kind of be able to differentiate what's happening in the system because it's not always right. And I found on commercial systems, especially when
commercial and refrigeration,
it doesn't know. Like, I mean, it's looking at superheat and subcooling, which
Majority of the
split
people are
system
doing
works.
residential and regular commercial versions of residential, and that's the reason
It
why it's
works
what it's built
great
for.
on a residential
Yeah,
system.
very good for it. And that's
You
where
have to be
80%
able
of the
to
people are at.
interpolate. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you got to be when you're on the commercial side, you got to kind of halfway know what you're looking at. I got some of both in my video coming up this week. I look at my analog gauges and I give it my first guess, and then we hook up Measure Quick and go into it. And I'm looking at it wrong half the time because it's not on the right refrigerant and everything else. But I already knew it was happening anyways. And then at the end, we finally get there and find out that Measure Quick agrees with me.
Well,
Sure.
what I like is
That's
that
got to be a good confirmation too at the end.
I don't understand all of the humidity and all that latent load versus, whatever load, how it's got all that calculated. We didn't cover none of that crap, and we don't talk about it much. So there's a lot of, things there that it's calculating that I don't know the calculations for, that really does come in handy to bring, light to it, or it remembers things that you didn't think about. That's where it really comes in handy for.
Can I ask you a question? When you open Measure Quick with your probes, do you have to manually set those probes up in the probe manager every time?
I just got to go into the toolbox and turn on field piece or whatever, and that's
just
it.
activate it.
Yeah.
Because I connected
honestly,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, I
I was
connected
gonna
my
say-
Measure Quick to my probes, and then I had the manifold too, that I kind of had everything, and it just seems kind of difficult now because I like to just put the shit on there and have it read.
You
and I'm like,
shouldn't have to do that.
I end up like, I
Yeah,
gotta
something's
connect
not
this.
right.
I gotta
I mean,
connect that,
when
I
I
gotta connect
when
all
I
this
pull mine
crap.
up, I don't have to set them up in the toolbox.
All right.
Only
Mine
thing
are
I hate
already
is the
there,
dang update
and it
thing.
remembers it.
It takes forever to
And
update sometimes. That's what I don't like.
Well,
I'll
I
have to
mean,
just give it a little bit.
there seems to be updates constantly on it, but that's stopped recently for me. But when I pull it up,
And then I go over to my toolbox, and my probes or my field piece is already there, and technically it's already activated, so it's ready to go.
it's activated.
Yeah,
So
I
when
don't
you-
have.
when
I don't
you
technically have to
power
do
your
anything.
Probes,
I think they've
it should
updated that to
show
be a
up
little
right there.
quicker now. Yeah.
Now you have to go to your probe manager to zero out your probes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And to see if you're trying to see everything at once.
But
I
they're
think I'm
pretty good
a lot
about it.
too.
I think I may have tried to connect too many things to the.
And you got to remember too, if you're using Bluetooth like your headphones and stuff, that will start screwing with it too. So it can do
Yeah.
headphones and stuff, but you're better off to unhook your headphones.
I don't have headphones.
Okay, because I've got a headset and things like that, and sometimes it'll act screwy, and it's convenient that I have Jim Bergman's phone number, so I can just text him when I have some problems. I mean, I had one, I texted him, and he's like, "You got the font too big." I'm like, "Why can't I see the pressures?" "You got your fonts too big." I'm like, "Oh man," I just thought about it. I'm like, "I just made the fonts bigger on the phone." I said, "Well, my eyesight's getting crappy." He's like, "It's time for a tablet." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." So we moved to tablets at work. So I literally, in this one video, I'm using my tablet that we got to do our calls on, and that's something we just now done for the second week. So it's kind of cool. No paper and stuff, but I loaded all that crap on it, and it's got an internet connection, so I can do whatever. So that's kind of neat. I'll be able to record that.
I wish work would give us a tablet because we do it all on our phone. And for me to get a tablet and then get the data plan, I wish I could pay more money on my personal, data
They
plan.
pay for ours. I mean, we've been paperless for like 2 years.
No, we're paperless, but we do it on our personal phone. Maybe I should.
See, that's
I should
kinda-
probably-
Kraus,
Yeah, I
we
should
don't
probably
use
look into
Service
that.
Titan. We use.
I mean, our
Jonas.
My company pays for the tablet,
Well-
which I use every day, and my phone. Honestly,
I get an allowance. Well, I get a certain amount of money out of per month going towards my phone.
yeah.
But we don't have a tablet. I'm gonna have to stir things up.
They bought a cheap
Like,
tablet. I mean, it's not an expensive
yeah,
one. It's
tablet.
like $150, $200 Samsung, but the data package is where
Yeah,
they're making
they're-
their money at, and
Well,
we're all sharing data.
They gave us all laptops when we moved from paper to paperless. Everybody got a laptop, and then soon everybody learned that the laptop sucked.
Yeah, you're better off tablet. Ours is all web-based, which works out good. It's a little slow on some stuff because we got our own server at our workplace, which I think is kind of crazy.
Well, you know what was funny was the
that'll throw
tablet.
you off too.
The tablet it came off of it came off of the Wi-Fi of your phone. You know what I'm saying? So we had to have the tablet and we had to link it to the phone.
You were using your phone as a hotspot.
Yeah.
As long as you got unlimited data, that's fine. But I don't, we do have unlimited data, but we pay big money for that.
But I don't want to buy a tablet and then have to add another device to my monthly plan because
just use the hotspot on your phone if you are able to use that
for a
your
tablet.
Phone. Yeah, I can run a laptop. I run my laptop through my phone.
No shit.
Yeah, that's how I log into the grocery stores. When I'm on call, I take my laptop with me because my laptop has like a virtual IP, so I log into the shop's computer, and then the shop's computer has a direct connection to the grocery stores to protect their network. So I've got to have I got the antivirus from the shop. I got to have everything's got to lockstep together. That way it secures their network. So I can't log straight into the store. I got to do it through the shop.
Mike B says they have coins on their phones.
Coins? What the heck's a coin?
They're using the payphones.
Oh
yeah.
God,
I haven't seen one of those in years.
I see one yesterday at Texas Roadhouse back by the restrooms. I was like, what in the world?
I've got one in the town that I live in right down the road, and it's at the gas station, and I saw a lady and her children were like taking pictures with it the other day as I passed.
Look at this.
Yeah, like look, what is this thing?
Marty McFly.
Yeah, it was just funny to pass and see them. She was taking pictures of her kids with the phone.
Have you guys seen the video where an older gentleman tells his two grandkids it's a rotary phone. He's like, I'll give you $100 or something like that if you can dial this number on this phone. And it's the rotary one. They pick it up and they're like pushing it. They don't know how the hell to do it. Yeah, we had one too. We had a rotary phone with like a 50-foot cord on it. So
the big long one hanging to the floor.
Go down in the basement, and it was like a wireless, but you just had to have a huge cord that went anywhere in the house.
I remember getting the first wireless phone because somebody was broke, and I did some stuff to get it working. Then I ended up buying the fancy, wireless, cordless phone. Got the spread spectrum Escort and all kinds of fancy stuff. And then you got even further range. You could take it way outside. So yeah, good stuff. Well, hey, we are at an hour, so.
Well, let's go for one more.
All right, whatever.
Let's keep this thing going.
Let's get cracking. Get cracking on it. 7 tools.
We're
pretty proud.
We're running dry as it is.
I know. I'm trying to think.
The chat's going strong. The chat's going strong.
Chat's
they're doing it. They're not even paying attention to us.
Hell no. We're just sitting there rattling about something. They're just using us for the chat room.
We give them a topic.
We give them a chat room, but they're just going at it, man. Yeah, it's like what they gotta think. And I do the same thing though. Like with overtime, you're sitting there, hey Tony, hey Bill, what's up, Mark? Blah blah. It's like it's
Alaska says 24-hour live stream, baby. We should do that sometime. Let's start 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning. We'll go to 7 a.m. Sunday night.
Yeah, it is weird. We're up to 47. I think it's because we're getting later into the night because you figure it's 8 o'clock in the middle, 7 o'clock on the west, so it's not that late out there. They're just finally getting, a little later in the day, so they're coming in and figuring that it's time to get the shoes off.
Shear says endurance streaming.
Yeah. Or we could do something where we have like 20 people in there at one time. That's always interesting.
You can mic me up just throughout the day. I'll walk around with a mic on me.
I know. It's like, send me some pictures of what you're doing.
Like you might not like what you get.
Yeah.
I like that endurance streaming. Jason Johnson says, we are the 38 best HVAC guys out there, so.
Yeah, the problem is, Alaska, if I did my call live, you'd find out I don't have a clue what I'm doing and stuff like that. I'm calling freaking the helpline and talking to, astronomers and, psychics and things like that, trying to figure out how it works, and that wouldn't be good.
Dude, I feel the same way half the time.
I call the factory on some stuff. It just ain't worth it. If it's something weird, like I called Manitowoc, the board was doing some stupid stuff. I had a feeling it was the board and not the hot gas harvest valve. But, we went into the computer, and the snapshot showed that the discharge temperature on the compressor was high. The T3 and T4 across the evaporator wasn't very warm and had a long harvest. And that could be the relay on the board, or it could be the valve sticking. Which one is it? Well, the valve technically probably is cheaper than the board, because that board, our cost is like $700 and some dollars. So, it's like, well, So I changed the valve, but when I got there, it was acting up finally, because it wouldn't act up right away. And I put it into harvest, and it doesn't do nothing. I'm like, man, I don't just play with ice machines all the time. I'm like, I ain't positive. Will it normally go right into harvest? And it should, but it didn't. And then so I was like, well, I went ahead and somehow got it into harvest. And then after it did that, I put it in harvest and went immediately into it. So it would do harvest immediately anytime after the fact, but it wouldn't do it when I first tried it. And finally, I called the factory, and by the time they called me back, I already changed the hot gas valve. And, I was like, whatever. We got that, and a thickness probe.
When you first tried it?
Yeah, when I first did it, I told it, because it was out of water. It was sitting there like confused. It was like trying to freeze, but it had no water left. It ran out of water.
There is a delay, though.
Yeah, not really.
I think it has to be in a freeze cycle.
Yeah. But this is a manual. This is a forced harvest, not because if the thickness probe is shorted or whatever, yeah, you got a 7-minute minimum freeze. But when you force it manually, it knows you're purposely doing it for a reason, and it'll go right into it. And so I did it, and sure as crap, I'm like, oh great. So I went ahead and changed the board and that both, and they've had so many off and on problems. It worked for 3 days and then it wouldn't, and they worked for 2 or 3 days and it wouldn't. So yeah.
Do you know for sure that your forced harvest will bypass that 7-minute delay, or
that's
6
why
minute,
I called
it
them
is, the freeze cycle,
to make sure. Yeah, because once we did it and I put it into a new freeze cycle, I put it into harvest, immediately went into it. I take the door, open it and close it, immediately cut out, put it right back into it again. Open, literally, I kept doing this over and over. Doom, 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 back and forth, back and forth. I do that until I can make the thing screw up. And that's how I get things to fail. That's how I get residential to fail.
Over and over again.
I purposely will force the thing out. I'll pull the flame sensors. I'll pull limit switches. I'll try to get it to do and show me what it did to get it to mimic it. And that's how I get things to fail.
I've been there, and you just keep testing something
over and over until you get it to fail.
I spend all day with things over and over and over again, and then finally, it might be 8 hours later, and it does something weird randomly for no reason.
Yeah, and that's what this thing did. And it's like, what's going on here? And I didn't want to replace the board and be wrong, because like I said, our cost is $7, so it's going to be probably at least $800 or more. And, I don't want somebody to spend that kind of money and I'd be wrong. So I waited for them to call. And once he confirmed it with me, I'm like, cool. Because, who should know their product better? All they work on their crap. So, you got 3 or 4 different boards. They should know it. So he finally called me back, because I told him, I said, hey, I don't need much help. I just need to make sure of this. Call me back. And they got back with me fairly quick, which is very unusual. So
they
worked out well.
This guy doesn't need help. We can call him back.
Yeah.
Everybody else are like, I don't want to call that guy back. He sounds like he's got a really hard problem.
Oh yeah.
I'm not calling
He's
that guy
jamming his thing.
I'm recording this phone call. Do you mind?
Everybody in the office is fighting over the stupid calls that are like, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't want to talk to him.
Let's play with this guy for a little bit. Tell him it's the thingamajig down by the whatchamacallit next to the monostat. That's what's really bothering it.
Maybe he'll hang up if we just wait.
Let's put him on hold again. Yeah. Good grief. So you got kids to put to bed and stuff like that. It's 9:08. You want to call it quits, or what do you want to do? Got 45 people. I don't know where the other 45 came from. There's 46.
Talking to me?
You talking to me?
Give it to him, Ryan.
Forget about it.
Talking to me?
I got kids to put to sleep.
You got kids to put down. You got to put them down.
What about it?
Yeah, forget about it.
Put them down like that. Hey.
It gives you any back talk, you just smack them down. Yeah. Good grief. instigating beatings. The beatings will not stop until I watched this one comedian. He was walking around. It was pretty good. Yeah, that's really very. Yeah, we'll avoid that one. That definitely would get me. Yeah. So
why haven't you hit the button yet?
All right. Well, anyhow, I'm waiting for your blessing there. I didn't want to just
Here's your blessing. I mean, I'll tell you.
You got to tell me what to do. So, anyhow, thanks for coming in, guys. Smack the thumbs button. The link's always gonna be live. I just make it unlisted. So, thanks for coming. Check out the videos. Check out everything HVAC. Check out Ryan Huseman there on his videos and all of his new live streams and stuff like that. And then we will catch you guys on the next one. Later.
Huseman.
Huseman. Huey man. Go on mute.
Okay, thank you all for coming. There's coffee and brownies out front.
And now, get out. Get out. Get out. Get out.